The rain was slamming against the glass skyscraper of Sterling Enterprises, but inside the executive office, the air was cold as ice. I stood near the door, clutching my 3-year-old daughter Maya's small hand, while my heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. I was a widowed black father working 16-hour days as a commercial cleaner just to afford Maya's medical bills and keep a tiny roof over our heads. I worked silently, kept my head down, and stayed out of everyone's way. Then came 5 minutes ago, when Billionaire CEO Arthur Sterling realized his diamond-encrusted watch and $500,000 in bearer bonds were missing from his mahogany desk. Before I could even speak, Sterling slammed his fist on the desk, pointed a shaking finger at my chest, and shouted for security. Within seconds, 2 heavy-set guards stepped into the room, blocking the exit. Sterling sneered at my worn-out clothes and grease-stained work boots, his face twisted in pure contempt. "You pathetic trash," he spat, his voice echoing in the grand office. "You think you could just sweep my floor and walk out with a fortune? Search him and his little brat." My blood boiled, but I held Maya tight against my leg. "Mr. Sterling, I didn't touch your watch or your bonds," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I came in here to empty the trash cans. You can check the hallway cameras." The hallway cameras miraculously cut out 10 minutes ago. Sterling raged, stepping right into my face. "You knew where the blind spots were. Hand over the stolen money, or I swear you will spend the next 20 years rotting in a cell while child services takes your daughter." Maya tightened her tiny grip on my hand, her little body trembling with fear as she looked up at the angry billionaire screaming at her daddy. Suddenly, Sterling's arrogant wife, Victoria, marched into the room, draped in expensive furs and clutching a designer handbag. She looked at us with utter disgust, pulling out her phone. "Call the police, Arthur. These people come into our building, take our kindness, and steal from us. Throw them out in the rain where they belong." The 2 security guards stepped forward, grabbing my shoulders, attempting to force me down onto the cold marble floor. I tensed up, ready to fight with every drop of blood in my body to protect my girl, even if it meant going to prison. That was when Maya stepped out from behind my leg. She wasn't crying anymore. Her tiny face was dead serious as she held up her favorite toy, a plush teddy bear with bright plastic eyes and a small red button on its chest. "Mommy," Maya whispered softly, her sweet voice breaking the tense silence in the room. I recorded everything. Victoria stopped cold, frowning in confusion. "What is that child babbling about?" "My mommy gave me Mr. Bear before she went to heaven," Maya said, her big brown eyes locking straight onto Victoria. "Mr. Bear has a camera in his eye so Mommy could watch over me." Sterling's face instantly went from red to pale white. The room went dead silent. Maya pressed the small red heart on the bear's chest. A tiny digital projector light shot out from the bear's plastic eye, beaming a crystal-clear high-definition video directly onto the white wall of the billionaire's office. The video showed the office 10 minutes before we entered. Arthur Sterling was standing at his desk, frantically stuffing the stack of bearer bonds and the diamond watch into a hidden compartment inside his own leather briefcase, while talking on speakerphone to his mistress. On the audio recording, Sterling's voice echoed loudly through the room. "I'm transferring the bonds to the offshore account tonight, babe. When the cleaner comes in, I'll blame him for the theft. The insurance company will pay out $500,000, and that poor fool will take the fall. Nobody believes a black housekeeper anyway." The video played on, capturing the exact moment Sterling hid his briefcase behind the curtain just seconds before I walked in with my vacuum cleaner. Victoria gasped, her jaw dropping open in sheer shock. She turned toward her husband, her eyes wide with unbelievable fury. "Arthur, you stole from our joint account. You framing a poor worker to cover your debt to another woman." Sterling stood frozen like a stone statue, sweat dripping down his temples, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. He looked at the floor, then at his wife, and finally at my 3-year-old daughter who was holding the teddy bear. The 2 security guards immediately released my shoulders, stepping back with wide eyes, completely disgusted by their own boss. "Mr. Sterling," the lead security guard said, his voice cold as ice as he pulled out his radio. I'm calling the police. And this video is going straight to the board. Sterling dropped to his knees right there on the rug, his billionaire persona completely shattered into pieces. No, please. Victoria, listen to me. Marcus, please, delete the recording. I'll pay you. I'll give you $100,000 right now. Just don't ruin my life. I looked down at the man who had tried to destroy my family, who had tried to throw me in prison and take my daughter away without a single shred of mercy. I picked Maya up into my arms, holding her close against my chest, and looked Sterling dead in the eye. You called us trash, I said quietly, my voice echoing with a calm, unstoppable power. You thought because I wear work boots and clean your floors, I have no voice. But my daughter just exposed who you really are. I turned my back on the kneeling billionaire, walking right past his weeping wife and the security guards, heading straight for the elevators. As the elevator doors closed, Maya buried her face into my neck, holding her plush bear tight. Did Mr. Bear do good, Daddy? She whispered softly. I kissed the top of her head, tears of pride filling my eyes as I smiled into the reflection of the glass mirror. Mr. Bear saved us, baby, I whispered back, and nobody is ever going to look down on us again.